Well, guys, the nightmare has begun. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and this is my review of A Nightmare on Elm Street. This movie was directed by Wes Craven himself, and it stars Robert Englund and Heather Langenkamp. And this movie is based around a group of kids who live on Elm Street who realize that a psychotic child murderer named Freddy Krueger is entering their dreams and is picking them off one by one. This movie, I was introduced to it a little later on because I've never really been in the Freddy Krueger camp like I have with Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees or even Pinhead, some of the other iconic slasher killers per se. Chucky is also in that discussion, but Freddy was never one that gravitated me. Back when I was a kid, I never really got into the Nightmare films, but really coming into this, I have watched Nightmare on Elm Street. It was one of the only ones that I had watched from the series prior to this series of videos that I'm doing. It's really nice getting a refresh watch, and this is a movie that still holds up really well even in this day and age. Now, some of the CGI is outdated. Some of the practical effects don't work necessarily as well as in today's standards, but this movie has a really great character in Freddy Krueger, who in this movie is very sinister. Even his joking in this film is very evil, very sinister, very dark. And it seems like the more deeper this franchise goes, the more hammier he gets, the more the comedy kind of just becomes almost too much of a joke on the character of Freddy. But this movie does a really good job of making him evil and scary in every sense of the word, because throughout this entire movie there's never really a lot of time that we get with just kind of looking at Freddy like completely from the front. There's a lot of moments where he's like in the shadows or he's, you know, in dark settings to where it's hard to make out completely that face of Freddy's. And when you finally get the full effect of what he looks like, it's haunting and it stays with you. And that's one thing that I really love about this film is the way that they portray this character of Freddy Krueger. They make him a menacing antagonist and a menacing monster to the characters in this movie. The thing that I love about this film is that the kills are great violence and gore in this film that just, it makes the whole movie blend together nicely. And it's a very good slasher film where we get enough of what we want. There's still a little bit of that exposition with the characters and kind of setting up the sequences of what's going to happen. And the fact that the parents that are involved and with them kind of having some type of background in the story of Freddy Krueger, it makes it more compelling as a narrative and realizing that there are true stakes and that maybe the parents know something that is going on. That most of the time it seems like in slasher movies, parents or like older adults are kind of naive and kind of stupid, and they don't listen to the experience of the people actually going through this traumatizing event. So that's a big step up for this slasher movie than other films and other movies. But one of my biggest problems with this film, my biggest criticism, is the character of Nancy. I like Nancy. My problem is Heather Langenkamp's acting in this film is very, very dull and very boring. There's a thing about overacting, but there's a thing about underacting too, and that's what she does throughout this entire movie. Whether it's one of her friends dies, there's no emotion. You don't feel any weight of how her character would be feeling at this moment in time. There is literally a scene in this movie where her mom dies, and she doesn't act out or anything. It's just like, oh, my mom died. How dare you, Freddy? I want my mom back. There's no weight to it, and so there's no emotional connection with her and with the audience because you don't feel like her character would be real in the real world, in the real setting. Because if she truly cared about her friends, she says so many times throughout this film, I care about these people, I love these people, then when they die, you should probably react as if you actually do truly love them and miss them. And so the movie just kind of doesn't set that tone in terms of having a protagonist be real, and it makes the movie dull and a little bit nonsensical to me. But I do really, again, I love what they do with Freddy Krueger. I love that this movie, in the beginning of this film, it's a dream sequence with Tina, And you think that Tina is going to be the final girl at the end of the film, but no, it's Nancy. It's somebody else. And I really like that the movie sets up starting off in dream sequences. And the dream sequences in this film are really fun. They're kind of creative, especially the high school dream sequence. Some of the best stuff in there with practical effects, and some of the best scares are used in that sequence. But a lot of the dream sequences, I will say this, are just in the same setting, where it's just, you could definitely feel that this movie is a little small budget, but it doesn't kind of go out there to kind of take risks in terms of seeing an interesting dynamic within these dream sequences. But this is a fantastic movie, guys. I really can't criticize a lot about this film. I love watching this movie. It still holds up today. This is a classic slasher film that everyone needs to see, because honestly, who doesn't love a evil, sinister Freddy Krueger? Anyway, guys, that is my review of A Nightmare on Elm Street. What do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comment section of this video. Make sure you guys leave a like on the video. Subscribe to my channel for more content just like this. And as always, I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.